On the modern battlefield, you've got to deal with invisible threats, things like radiation and chemical agents. So, how do you actually survive and fight when the danger is something you can't even see? Well, it all comes down to the physical hardware, the specific gear and equipment we're about to break down. So, just picture this challenge for a second. You have to clean an invisible poison off a huge multi-ton vehicle, maybe even off your own skin, and you have to do it right in the middle of combat. Yeah, this is not a job for a simple bucket of water. It takes some serious specialized chemistry and some pretty high-pressure engineering. So let's dive into exactly how it's done. Here's the plan. We'll kick things off with the threat itself, then we'll cover the protective gear and the decon hardware. After that, we'll compare the specs and wrap it all up with a quick review to make sure it sticks. Okay, so what's the real challenge we're looking at here? It's really all about this. How do you keep operating, and operating effectively, in a battle space that's been contaminated? By the time we're done here, you're going to understand the gear inside and out, its function, the chemicals they use, and the machinery that actually does the decontamination work. Our very first layer of defense is what's called individual protective equipment, or IPE. This is the gear that's worn by every single person who finds themselves in a contaminated zone. First up is the CBRN suit. Now, this is worn over the standard uniform, and it's designed to be breathable, which is huge for reducing physical stress. Its magic really comes from this clever three-layer system. You've got a tough, flame-retardant outer layer, a comfy cotton inner layer, and then, the real secret weapon, that middle layer of activated carbon. In that middle layer, it works through a process called absorption. Now, don't get that mixed up with absorption, where something soaks up like a sponge. No, absorption is different. It's when those toxic gas molecules literally stick to the surface of the activated charcoal, trapping them before they can ever get to your skin. Pretty cool, right? So, here's the most crucial thing to remember about the suit. It has a strict time limit. After 6 hours of exposure, chemical agents can actually start to get through that carbon layer. This is called its breakthrough time, or BTT. And you gotta think of it like a non-negotiable safety clock. Now check this out. Compare the suit's 6-hour limit to the respirator. The protection levels are just worlds apart. The respirator and its canister, they give you a massive 24 hours of breakthrough time. That's 4 times longer than the suit. It even has a nifty swivel drinking tube so you can stay hydrated without breaking that critical seal on your face. Let's take a closer look at that canister because it's pretty smart. It's actually a dual filtration system. First, the air you breathe passes through a HEPA filter, which physically blocks any solid particles. We're talking radioactive fallout or bacteria. Then it goes through the gas filter, which is a bed of that activated charcoal that absorbs all the nasty chemical gases. So you've got 2 stages for 2 totally different kinds of threats. And this simple diagram right here makes the whole process really easy to remember. Just think of it as a cylinder split in 2. The bottom part is the gas filter for that adsorption we talked about, and the top is the HEPA filter for all the particles. Contaminated air comes in the bottom, gets cleaned twice, and then you can breathe it in. It's a perfect way to visualize how it handles both solids and gases. Of course, the rest of the kit is just as important. You've got the integrated hood mask, the IHM, which is a critical piece for anyone who can't get a proper seal with a normal mask. And then you have the gloves and overboots, which are made of a tough, impermeable butyl rubber. The gloves even have a cotton inner layer, a small detail but absolutely vital for managing all the sweat that builds up. Okay, so you're protected. That's step 1. But what happens when your gear, your vehicles, or even the ground itself gets contaminated? Now we're going to move on to the hardware that's used to actually neutralize the threat. The main chemical they use is called Decontamination Solution 2, or just DS2. It's a really powerful mixture for cleaning equipment. But here's the crucial point, and pay attention to the warning. While it's totally safe for metal, it is extremely harmful to your skin and eyes. This is stuff you have to handle with extreme care. The first tool for spraying that DS2 is the portable decontamination apparatus. The easiest way to think about it is like a super heavy-duty stainless steel spray pump. It holds 14 liters, can spray up to 5 meters, and it comes with a scraper and a brush to physically break up the gunk so the chemical solution can really get in there and do its job. Now, for big jobs, you need something much, much bigger. That's where the mobile decontamination station comes in. It's a whole comprehensive 3-stage process. You start with a high-pressure pre-wash to blast off all the dirt. Then comes the chemical wash with a special slurry to neutralize the agent. And finally, you get a post-wash with hot water, steam, and even hot showers for the personnel. This flowchart perfectly shows the standard workflow you'd use to get a whole unit back to combat-ready status after they've been contaminated. It's a simple but really critical sequence: pre-wash, chemical wash, and post-wash. Easy as 1, 2, 3. All right, now let's put the key specs right next to each other. This is going to make it super clear how all these different pieces of equipment really stack up. So here we have the individual kits. You've got the personal decontamination kits, or PDKs, which are for chemical agents. They use either a cloth pad or a powder puffer. Then you have the radiological decontamination packet, or RDP, which uses wet napkins specifically designed for wiping away radioactive dust and fallout. Different kits for different threat. And this table really tells the story. It directly compares the two main pieces of decon hardware. The difference in scale just jumps right out at you. You've got a 14-liter man-portable system for spot cleaning versus a massive 3,000-liter vehicle-based station that's designed to restore entire units and even provide showers. All right, we have covered a ton of ground, so let's lock in the most critical points with a quick 1-minute recap. So if you remember anything, remember this. The suit, it's permeable and has that 6-hour limit. The respirator is way better with a 24-hour limit. PDK is for chemicals, RDP is for radiation. DS2 is for gear only, never ever skin. And finally, portable is for small spots, while mobile is for total restoration. Got it? And let's end with a question to chew on. We know that adsorption works by having molecules stick to a surface. So what does that 6-hour breakthrough time really mean for that activated carbon layer? Why is that clock so absolute? Something to think about.